Hi everyone, thank you for tuning in. My name is Heather and we're going to be doing some great dot art with Q-tips today. Some of you may have painted with me at the library before, maybe a couple times. Some of you might be new. But again, my name is Heather. You can check me out on Facebook. I have paint parties with Heather. This is what I do paint parties. I do want to thank you for tuning in right now though, because I'll be honest, this is my first time doing this on this platform and I'm excited. I'm excited to do something new. So hopefully this goes well. I'm sorry that we're not together at the library like we usually are, and hopefully we're doing that again real soon. However, in the meantime, it's best to be home and be safe. And there are some real perks to painting at home. The library has provided you with a really great kit. And so this is stuff that you get to use whenever you want to now. So I hope that you enjoy the video and I hope that you enjoy the kit and I hope that you enjoy the project we're about to do. So before we get started, let's go through our kit and make sure we have everything and get ourselves set up. You should have gotten a few colors of paper, some construction paper, and hopefully some white paper too. I'm going to be painting on white paper today just so it's easy for you guys to see. They also gave you these great little paint pods and they gave you a ton of colors, which I'm super happy about. That's awesome. So we're gonna have a lot of fun with that. Then, I don't know if you've ever done it, but we're going to be painting with Q-tips today, which were also in your bag. And hopefully you have some extra ones laying around the house too, if you need more. But they're gonna be a lot of fun to work with. I hope you enjoy this. I also recommend getting a little bit of paper towel handy, leaving that, you always want that around just in case. And maybe put on something that's not your favorite shirt. Let's just be safe, okay? Don't wear anything that you totally don't want to get paint on, just in case, you never know. And also make sure you find a good spot to work in. And maybe some newspaper to put underneath your paper. I don't want you getting paint on your workspace, okay? So why don't you get all your stuff together and we will set up to start painting. All right, we're back and we're ready to start painting. I'm gonna go with yellow paper today. I have a piece of black paper that I'm gonna put underneath. And I just chose a piece of black paper so that you could really see my edges. I definitely want you to put something underneath there because we are going to be painting right up to the edge of the paper. So you will get it on your table if you don't have something underneath. So grab that. I got my paint, I got my Q-tips, I have some paper towel, pulling up my sleeves, and we're ready to paint. Now, the nice thing about working at home is that you can really go at your own pace. So don't be scared, don't be nervous, there's no one there to see you. Put on some good music and have fun with it. Sometimes starting is a little, it could be a little nerve-wracking to look at a big blank piece of paper and get started. So I'm going to show you how easy it is with this. You simply start with a dot. Now, every color gets its own Q-tip. So make sure you kind of pay attention to that. Q-tips are easily thrown away if you use the wrong one and you mix them up. But you don't want to mess up your paint. If I have a Q-tip with blue paint on it and I put it into my yellow, I could ruin that whole cup of yellow and I don't want that to happen to you guys. So here we go. Once we're set up, I have a Q-tip per color and I'm just going to go ahead and start. Once you have one, I'm going to pick my next color and I'm going to make dots around that dot. There's really no doing it wrong. The Q-tips do the work for you. They're gonna keep the dots nice and uniform. They're gonna keep them all the same size. So the only thing you wanna try to do, the only trick there is to this, is to try to keep the spacing the same the entire time. Keep the spacing between the dots the same, as well as keep the spacing between the rows the same. So each circle is as close to the circle before it. Each dot is the same space apart. There, I made a little mistake. You're not even gonna tell. But really don't stress that. Don't stress any of it. It's supposed to be fun. And if there's little mistakes made, by the time this whole page is filled with all these dots, you are not going to notice, okay? So you can see I just keep going. I'm picking a different color every time. There's no rhyme or reason or pattern to that. I can get about, I don't know, 5 or 6 dots before I have to dip into my paint again. And you just keep letting your circle get bigger with these dots, okay? So I am on, where am I? This is my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th circle. I'm gonna finish this one. There we go. And then I'm gonna stop. Now I'm gonna move over anywhere I want, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm gonna start another circle. Pick a Q-tip and put a dot. And here I go. I am repeating the same thing. Oh, I almost forgot. The wonderful thing about working on colored paper is using white paint. Now this is yellow, so it's not super bright, but white paint is a wonderful accent color that we don't get to use enough because we always work on white surfaces. So get that construction paper and use some white paint. Ooh, so I don't know if you can see this. This Q-tip just kind of started fraying on me. It's kind of got some loose fluffies sticking around, and it's making little marks on my paper. So the wonderful thing about Q-tips, I can flip it over and use the other side. I can throw it away and get a new one, or I could just fix it a little bit. If you fix it like this, just be mindful now. Now my fingers are a little dirty and I don't want to touch my paper and get fingertips or fingerprints on there. But we're going to keep going. So just like before, one color at a time, keeping my dots nice and evenly spaced. And I just keep going. Now I put this one kind of close for a reason because I want you to see what's about to happen here. So I'm gonna get one more circle in, and two things are gonna happen. I'm gonna get to the edge of my paper first, and when I get there, I want you to just keep going. So it's like I said, you want something underneath because you are gonna go right off the edge of your paper. And you just need to keep going. That creates the illusion of these circles just going on forever. So don't stop or change the shape because you get to the edge of the paper. Keep your pattern going. Now I've also come right up to the first circle that I made. So at this point, I can go back and make this one bigger, or I can keep going with this one. And I think I'm going to keep going with the one here. And I'm going to show you what I do when I do that. Get my blue. So now what I'm going to do, I keep going. Now when I get here, I'm going to stop, kind of like it goes behind this one. And I'm going to go and pick up on the other side of that. So they just, they overlap. So it looks now like this circle went behind this one. And I'm going to do another row so that I can show you that again. Some orange. So again, I'm coming right up. I'm coming right up to that one, stopping. I would keep going and it would pop out again over here. And then I just keep going. Okay. I'm going to put one more ring on this circle just so I can show you one more time. And then I'm going to start another one. So again, right here, jump over here and finish there. ultimately, this is it. Those are the only two rules, if you will. Evenly spaced dots and kind of overlapping your circles. So now I'm gonna stop those and I'm going to start another one, kind of over here. Okay, and same thing. I'm just gonna keep going. Okay, so I'm still going here. I'm really liking the way it's coming along. And you can see I'm starting to just get to the end here. I started a fourth circle and I'm still doing the same thing. So I just wanted to kind of show you now I'm getting at the edges here. And when you start getting to these last little corners that need to be filled in, it's gonna get a little tricky as to where to kind of hold your paper. So just be careful and find a little spot. And actually that's something to be aware of the entire time, is being careful where you're putting your hand. Notice a couple times I've turned the paper. Don't work with your whole arm across the whole thing. You want to be real careful not to place your hand or wrist or arm anywhere. So just remember, you can always very easily turn the page so that it's easy to work where you need to be working, okay? But same thing, I can start a circle whenever I feel like I need to. With this much space left, that's not really gonna work for me. So I'm just gonna keep going with this one right off the edges of the paper. When I get to the other side, I could keep making this one bigger, or I could start another one. The number of circles and really the number of colors you use is completely up to you. And you have tons of paint and tons of paper and tons of Q-tips, so you can try as many different things as you want to at home, which is great, and I hope that you do. But I'm just gonna keep going on this. Okay, so you can see I am down to the last little corner here. I love the way it's turning out. I really do all the time. And I kind of got a funny little area that I'm working with. I have a circle here. I have two other ones that kind of cut off here. And I can do whatever I want. I can keep making this one bigger, or I could start another one coming this way. Whatever you think is going to work. As I'm doing it, there's no rhyme or reason or pattern. I do, however, kind of look, and sometimes I'll stop and take a step back and look at what color haven't I used in a while. What does it need right here? I do try to put lights and darks next to each other. I don't really want to go yellow, white, orange right in a row, or things that don't contrast well. So I try to think about it a little bit like that. But really, it's just this easy. And I'm almost done. I'm going to get right to this last little corner. So like I said, when you get here, it gets a little trickier to hold your paper down, but make sure you do. And last little corner, and there it is. That is my finished dot art with Q-tips, and I think it turned out really nice. So I need another minute out of your time here. Let's talk about cleanup and just a couple other little tips and tricks, something that you might want to think about. So if you can tell, I want to show you something. I'm a bit of a perfectionist, and over my years of teaching, I know that there's a lot of students out there that are. And if you're one of those perfectionist types, don't worry about this. But if you want to see how this blue one here is kind of real big, I do want to show you one difference. If you see, I was working with my palette here, and you guys are getting these paint pods. So I do want to show you what happens. So this blue that I was using has been submerged in the paint the entire time, opposed to me using my palette where the Q-tips were kind of hanging out on the side. And so I do just want to show you the difference in the Q-tip by the end of the project. So you could see when it's submerged, it's completely enlarged and completely covered with paint. And so by the end of the paper, it was getting a little sloppy and the dots were getting a lot bigger, opposed to this guy that was just hanging out on the side the whole time. So if you prefer the nice, neat little dots like that, I would just recommend, setting your little paint pods on a paper towel, and you could just lay your Q-tips right in front of them like that instead of having them standing in there. You just want to be aware that that's what you're doing and make sure that you're, using and grabbing the right Q-tip every time. Now let's talk about cleanup, also very important. This is acrylic paint. It will dry very quickly, but you want to put it somewhere and make sure you let it dry. As simple as it is to get done, it did take some time, and you don't want to accidentally hit it or smear it. So we're going to put that off to the side. I'm going to take a piece of my paper towel, and I'm going to take my Q-tips, and I'm going to put them on there. And I'm going to take this and put it in the garbage. And that's pretty much it. One of the wonders of working with Q-tips. That's literally cleanup in a nutshell, which is awesome. But most important part, your little pods, make sure that they are closed and sealed tight. I have not touched any of the paint in there, and I've already used this on 3 of these projects. In fact, this palette of paint that I'm working with, I have done at least 7 or 8 pieces of paper this size. This is less paint than you have, and I still have this much left to work with. So this paint will last you a while if it is closed tightly. Acrylic paint will turn into plastic if you let it dry out. So make sure you close these up so that you can keep working with them. If you give me 1 more minute of your time, I would love to show you a couple other projects and hopefully inspire you to keep painting and trying a couple new things. So let me get this out of the way and I'll show you some other cool stuff. All right, stick with me. Okay, hey, me again, one more time. I just want to show you a couple more things that hopefully inspire you and give you some ideas of other things to try since you have all this stuff at home now. Also, if you have a palette, I showed you I was working with my palette and I said I've used it a few times. It's the same thing. I still have all that paint in there and I put it right in a Ziploc. I never throw paint away that I could use again. So this is in a Ziploc. This isn't as airtight, but I could leave it like this for a good 3 or 4 days and keep coming back to it. So that, again, never throw your paint away. So I just wanted to show you a couple more examples. Here's another one. So green paper. So the only difference here is I only use 3 colors. So you could see, you know, here's blue paper. This one's like 7 or 8 colors. So again, beautiful results every time. There's so many dots, it's nice and intricate, but less colors makes more of a pattern. There's more repetition because there's fewer colors. It's a little less busy. So again, it's totally up to you, but try different color schemes. Maybe you want to put one of these up in your room and you have a color scheme going on in there. Work with that, okay? Think about maybe putting these somewhere and choose your colors that way. So there's just a couple different pieces of paper. Here's another one, just like the one we did together, just white paper. So again, beautiful results, real simple. So this one, I tried straight lines. Why not? It was kind of fun. And so same thing, same exact method, just straight lines and rectangles instead of circles. And I think it turned out kind of cool. It's a little crooked on the paper, so next time maybe I would just go crooked. Maybe I would try zigzags. Maybe who knows? I don't know. I just did that for fun and I think it looks kind of cool. Another one I want to show you, Google Aboriginal art if you haven't heard of it. It is an Australian art form of the indigenous people there, and they did a lot of animal art and a lot of this dot art. So I did this one, which was super fun and I think is really cool. And I'm going to give you a little trick. You don't need to know how to draw for this. I chose a turtle and I went on Google and Googled turtle outline. And so I got this right off. This is just a stock photo that I printed straight from the internet. So I started with this and turned it into that. And I think it's pretty awesome. And I could keep going. I could finish this wave pattern in the whole background. And I want to show you too what I did. Now be careful, if you want to mix colors, you might want to take them out of the cup so that you don't ruin the whole thing. But if you see in the background, I started using the same Q-tip and I would dip in the blue and then I would dip in the white and then I would make another row of just whatever. So it kind of started creating these different lights and darks and different hues and tints and shades of blue that I love. So again, that's the nice thing about being at home. You have the time and the freedom to experiment. So I hope you do that. I want to show you one more that I hope you enjoy as much as I do. And this is mandala inspired. So again, if you're not familiar with that, Google mandala and look at images. They're amazing. It's just a circle repetition. It's just a circular art form. So this is the same thing we did before. The only difference, I did cut my paper into a square, and instead of lots of circles, I have one. You do not have to start in the center. I started off center. Start wherever you want, but I just did one big circle that went right off the edges of all the paper. And what I did from there is took a Q-tip. Let me grab one. So after I did the same kind of circle we did before and filled the whole page, I took a Q-tip and I tore all the fluffy stuff off. So I was just down to the stick. And then I used this to dip in my paint. Can you see that? So then I dipped that and I changed my pattern a little bit and I put 2 vertical dots in between my yellows and my greens. So now I'm going back in and I'm making little details, and you can do as many or as few as you want. The only thing you need to do is keep it the same. So like I said, I did 2 purple dots on top of each other in between the yellow and the green. So I could go back with pen, pencil, colored pencil, a fine tip marker, and I could add as many small details as I wanted. The more details you put in, the more intricate and interesting it becomes, and they're really, really beautiful. So again, Google Mandala and be inspired, okay? That is all I have for you. I hope you enjoyed the project as much as I did and do. I hope that you have fun with it and that you do a lot of them. Use the paint, use the paper. I'm sure you can get more Q-tips, maybe even a paintbrush, and play with that. It's the nice thing about being at home. You have the time to do whatever you want there, so do it. Hopefully we're painting again soon together. Until then, find inspiration and keep making art, okay? Be safe, be smart, and keep washing your hands. And hopefully we're back together again soon. Thank you so much for watching. Check me out on Facebook, Paint Parties with Heather. All right, stay safe. Bye.